morning, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Supervisors meeting on January 7th, 2014. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Supervisor Munzer?
Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can I have a motion for a certificate of posting?
Move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. This morning, being the first meeting of January of a new year, is our board reorganization time. And so we'll go right to that, and I'll open nominations for the election of the chairman of the Board of Supervisors.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion for Jerry to be our chair for 2014.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Hearing none. Congratulations, Supervisor Munzer, Chairman Munzer. And we look forward to a productive and successful 2014.
With that, I'd like to open the nominations for Vice Chair. Supervisor Botello?
Chairman Munzer, I would like to nominate Supervisor Barrios for Vice Chair.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So moved.
Thank you very much.
With that, I would like to ask former Chair Supervisor Botello to meet me at the podium. And on behalf of the rest of the Board of Supervisors, Anthony, I'd like to present this plaque of our appreciation for your countless hours and dedication as our board chair for the year of 2013 and all the hard work you did in the previous year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I want to thank my fellow colleagues on the Board of Supervisors. It was a great year working with all of you, our staff. It was very challenging at times, but we got through it, and it's a memory that I always remember. Thank you very much.
With that, I'd like to take a 5-minute break so that we can reorganize our laptops and get our stuff together here. Thank you.
No, you still have power. So you just have to disconnect it. that's mine. I might have had it.
This is the only one I need.
Jerry, do you have your agenda? Yeah, we're supposed to keep those 9 until the chair,
I have two there.
Yep.
Okay, great.
It is beautiful. Something to be proud of, Anthony.
I'm gonna just, yeah, it
You
is.
should be proud of, truly.
I know, that's for sure. That's, don't get the opportunity to do that very often.
Sorry about that. Oh, I like this chair. It's higher, I think.
Okay.
Actually, Mr. Chair, you should have put Anthony here, because he's the outgoing chair.
Well, we can do that next meeting. We can do that next meeting.
Or do we want to
Yeah,
switch
makes
names?
sense.
We can do that next meeting.
Jared, let's start with-
You're gonna change.
Oh,
And
Let Denise.
Do you want me to get it?
you have a better. Musical chairs. Thanks, Denise. You know, I never sat here before because I never was vice chair.
Okay.
This is my first time. Yeah.
Are we situated? Okay. While my computer is booting back up because it shut itself down, I will go through my committee's appointments, starting with the Association of Monterey Bay Area Government. Jerry Munzer, Robert Rivas, with Anthony Patello as the alternate. The audit committee will be Jerry Munzer and Jaime De La Cruz. Behavioral Health Board, Margie Barrios. California State Association of Counties, Margie Barrios. Director, Jaime De La Cruz, the alternate. Children's and Families First 5 County Commission, Margie Barrios. City Revolving Loan Fund Committee, Robert Rivas. Council of Government, Anthony Patello, Jaime De La Cruz, and Jerry Munzer, alternate. County Facility Committees, Margie Barrios and Anthony Patello. And a new committee that I would like to start for 2014 will be County Policies and Procedures. It's an ad hoc committee in which Jerry Munzer and Anthony Patello will be the members. Emergency Medical Care Commission, Robert Rivas, Jaime De La Cruz, the alternate. Farm Labor Camp Committee, Jerry Munzer, Jaime De La Cruz. Fire Protection Committee, Anthony Patello, Jerry Munzer. Gang Prevention Coordinated Policy Committee, Jaime De La Cruz, Robert Rivas. Governance Committee, Margie Barrios, Anthony Patello. The Highway 25 Ad Hoc Committee would be Jerry Munzer, Margie Barrios. Hollister Hills Advisory Committee, Jerry Munzer. Impact Fee Committee, Anthony Patello and Jerry Munzer. Intergovernment Committee, Margie Barrios, Jaime De La Cruz. Juvenile Justice Commission, Robert Rivas will be the liaison. Local Agency Formation Commission, Margie Barrios, Anthony Patello, with Robert Rivas as the alternate. Local Task Force, Anthony Patello. Manage Health Care, Margie Barrios, Jaime De La Cruz. Monterey Bay Unified Air Pollution Control District, Jerry Munzer as director, Robert Rivas as the alternate. Pajaro River Watershed Flood Prevention Authority, Margie Barrios. Regional Council of Rural Government, or Counties, Anthony Patello, delegate, Jerry Munzer, alternate. RDA Successor Agency, Jaime De La Cruz, and Veteran Park Commission, Jaime De La Cruz and Jerry Munzer. With that, we will move on to public comment. Anybody from the public that would like to address the board for any item not on today's agenda? And I stress that you are allotted 3 minutes.
Marvin Jones.
Thank you, Denise. Mr. Chairman, congratulations on the shuffling of chairs and New Year. First meeting, if you don't speak at the first meeting, you can't speak at all of them. Notice you did not have an update on the general plan on the agenda, and I understand why with all the changes that are occurring there. I was wondering if there would be any effort or any opportunity to update the information that's on the San Benito County webpage about the general plan. It's still there in the draft form, of course. The EIR is there, and I understand there are going to be some changes. I don't know whether they're going to be changes of substance or just a little bit of window dressing. There are some rather dictatorial comments in there that you could soften up and maybe let the citizens have a little bit more freedom in activity versus what's in there now. So it's going to be interesting to see how the general plan progresses in this coming year. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Rick Cooper.
So Rick Cooper, Bureau of Land Management, Hollister Field Office Manager. Mr. Chairman, supervisors, good morning. I'm here today to let you know that the BLM intends to update a 2007 Hollister Resource Management Plan section on oil and gas. BLM specifically wants to evaluate the effects of new technology and well development, both the anticipated demand for drilling and the associated environmental impacts based on types of well development. The first phase of the update will be scoping meetings with the public, and this will help BLM determine issues that should be addressed and at what level of analysis is going to be needed. The final product would be an amendment to the 2007 Hollister Resource Management Plan. The public scoping begins here in Hollister on Wednesday, January 29th at the San Juan Oaks Golf Course facility, and the meeting will be from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. There will be 3 other scoping meetings throughout the area, one February 4th in Sacramento, one February 11th in Salinas, one February 12th in Coalinga. All the meetings will be from 6 to 8 p.m. The objective is to improve the BLM knowledge on effects of leasing and oil and gas development in the Hollister Field Office, thereby providing BLM decision makers with a good basis for final decisions related to our leasing program and our approvals for drilling on the federal mineral estate in this field office. I wanted to announce this because we'll be coming out with a public notice on this very shortly. Be in the papers announcing the meeting dates and times, and I wanted you to be aware of it. And then also the current state effort is going on, and I didn't want to have those two kind of get confused when our announcement came out, because the state of California has their Division of Oil and Gas comment period on implementation or the development and implementation of regulations for SB 4, and they're actually having a workshop comment period in Salinas tomorrow. So I think at 3 o'clock they're going to have that. So I just want to make sure this is a federal effort for the Hollister Field Office, and there's ongoing state effort. There's going to be some overlap and benefit from both, but they'll benefit each other, is what I meant to say, but they aren't hooked together. So thank you.
Supervisor Botello?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you repeat the time for the meeting on the 29th?
January 29th at the San Juan Oaks Golf Course facility between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m.
6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Okay, great, thank you. And we certainly hope that the federal lands are as diligent in making sure that whatever the technique of oil exploration and drilling is environmentally protected as well, because you're the watershed for us downstream. So we're very concerned about that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Marty Richmond.
Good morning, Marty Richard from Hollister. So first, let me wish everybody a Happy New Year. Congratulations, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair. Just to say, I wish you all and all the residents of San Benito County a Happy New Year, and I hope we have this year a productive year in which we can move forward on a number of issues that face this county, because I do feel that we are at a point where we're going to either move forward or slide back. I think we're at a balancing point where we have to make some decisions. We cannot just sit here and just let all the outside forces decide where we're going, because when we do that, somehow or another, we always wind up getting the short end of the stick when we do that. I don't know why it works out that way. Maybe, could it be that other counties have their best interest at heart? Maybe not our best interest at heart? Could be. Who knows? So I hope we can finally move forward in areas where we are not moving, did not move very quickly in 2014. The poor areas of the state have been the last ones to come out of the recession, and many of them are not coming out at all. It's unfortunate, but my research shows that we're kind of falling in that category. We're not coming out. We seem to celebrate every every advancement, and we ignore every slide. Our total shows inventorying our human resources within the county, our financial resources within the county, our cultural resources within the county. I find we're being left behind, and we're being left by many counties that we think aren't doing anything. They're doing a lot more than we are. So I hope we can move forward and move forward together, and I always appreciate the time you give me to express my opinion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marty. Anybody else from the public would like to make a comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to department heads. Espinoza?
With regards to the website currently is up for all the departments. The departments have access to their portion of the website, and they can edit their website. So what I'm going to do is be working with staff to make sure that they have up-to-date information within their portion of the website. I just want to make sure the board's aware of that. Item number 3 on our agenda, there is an edit on this particular item within the resolution, and it is just an addition of the letter or of the word "to" that. Okay. And that would be found on the resolution on the second item. Be it further resolved, and that any settled claim shall thereafter be reported to, and that's the point, the San Benito County Board of Supervisors. Just want to make sure the board is aware of that edit. Also, item number 15 on our agenda, the executive session will be held at approximately 11:30 a.m. Just wanted to make sure the board's aware of that. And item number 14, I was just made aware that there was a change, and to be cautious and to make sure that we're following the correct procedures, we were going to go ahead and continue this item to January 21st. That is all of the items I have. Actually, Steve Woodtree would like to announce a department head announcement. He's part of our Public Works Department. Director, Steve?
Sorry for the surprise, Ray. Basically, what I want to make the public and the board aware of is some of the work that's going on Fairview Road. As those of you who travel outside of the area are aware, there's a construction project going on that the Sunny Slope County Water District and San Benito County Water District are partnering with to install a pipeline from Sunny Slope Road down to approximately 200 yards past John Smith Road. Crazy. So expect delays out there. There'll be traffic control. They'll be working. There will be delays out there as they close one of the lanes as that pipeline will go parallel to the road. In addition, I wanted to let the board know and the public know that the new signal at the intersection of Santa Ana and Fairview will be going into operation the week of the 13th. So expect new operations out there. It's right now planned to be turned on that Wednesday, but we'll have flagging out there. We will have some signs out there to notify the public that will be happening and that changed traffic pattern will happen at that location.
Thank you, Steve.
That's all the
Before Steve sits down, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I do have a question, Mr. Chair, if I could, because I'm directly affected by it since I live just a few feet from that light. Will there be some sort of wording on Fairview to not block so that people can get out of Mansfield Road? Or is that something that we'll wait and see if it becomes an issue?
It's something that's a wait and see. Hopefully, if it doesn't become an issue, if it will, then we will put the limit lines and do not block that portion.
Okay,
Right
so
now, we
but
don't
at this
anticipate
time-
it. We don't anticipate it, but if it becomes an issue, we will
I
take
will
steps.
let you
to
know.
that.
How's that?
I fully expect that, yes. I expect a call
Thank
or
you.
two.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other comments?
That's all the department head announcements we have this morning.
We'll move on to board announcements. Supervisor Rivas? Supervisor De La Cruz?
Yeah, I got a couple comments. First of all, like the former chairperson, Anthony Patello, working together last year, and there were times when we had our heated debate discussions, but we felt that the best interest of the community was number one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And incoming new chair, the book is open and the jury's out there, and we shall see in November. But thank you, Mr. Chair.
Supervisor Patello?
Nothing at this time, thanks.
Supervisor Barrios?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to also thank Supervisor Patello. You represented us well. You represented San Benito County and this board, and I was very proud of that. And I look forward now to working with Supervisor Munzer as our chair. I want to say that I'm honored to serve in the committees and the commissions that you have appointed me to, and honored to serve as vice chair for 2014. Thank you.
And I just want to wish everyone a happy New Year's. I hope everyone had a great and blessed holiday season, and looking forward to this new year as your chair. With that, we'll move on to consent items. Would any of the board members like to pull any of the consent items?
Mr. Chair, I was pulling number 3 for the same reason that that our CAO pointed out.
Mr. Chair?
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Skipped over.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I skipped over that. We will adjourn as the Board of Supervisors, and I will turn the meeting back over to Supervisor Patello, and so that he may open up the San Benito County Finance Corporation
Okay.
meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Board of Supervisors is now sitting as the San Benito County Financing Corporation. Can I have a motion, certificate of posting?
So moved?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Now is the opportunity for the public to comment on any items not on the agenda for the San Benito County Financing Corporation. Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda that consists of the minutes from January 8th, 2013.
Move to approve, Mr. Chair?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none. And the appointment of officers for the year 2014. We'll start with the chair of the Financing Corporation Board.
I will nominate our current Board of Supervisors chair to sit as the chair of the Board of Directors of the San Benito County Financing Corporation.
Have a nomination for the Chairman Munzer.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, hearing none. And I'll turn it over to the new chair of the Financing Committee.
Okay, and I will open up the nominations for the vice chair for the Board of Directors.
I'll nominate Supervisor Barrios for vice chair.
I'll second that.
Oh,
Leadership is tough to give up.
it is. It's tough to give up.
With that, I will close the nomination. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And with that, I will close the meeting of the San Benito County Finance Corporation and reconvene as the Board of Supervisors. Okay, with that, we will go to the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I was pulling number 3 for the same reason that our CAO pointed out, and probably should do it just to make for public record. And then also number 9 for some typos that have already been pointed out to Georgia Cochran, but we'll pull them out just, again, for public record.
Okay. Anyone else? Would any member of the public like to pull any items of the consent agenda? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion on the amended consent agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
We have a first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Move 5-0. So then we will move to item number 3.
And again, I'll just reiterate what our CAO said, that the word "to" has to be included on the last to be further resolved, and I believe that has been done.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, that was just a typographical error, and so it's presented to the board for approval as amended.
Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the members of the public? Would entertain a motion on consent agenda item number 3.
I will adopt, make a motion to adopt resolution 2014-1, delegating settlement authority to the county administrative officer in regards to claims held by the county of San Benito against any third party in an amount not to exceed $25,000 with the amended resolution.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So moved. We'll move on to consent agenda item number 9.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I pulled that one. I did talk to Georgia about it. She's aware of the mistakes, a couple of them. One of them is on page, I believe, 78, where the word "but" has to be corrected, and you're aware of it and have probably made the change.
Correct, and you actually have the corrected copies. Those are what I distributed first thing this morning. Those reflect the changes that we discussed,
Yeah.
as
And
well
the
as a
other one-
couple other little nits.
Yeah, thank you, Georgia. And the other one is on page 81, where a sentence is included in there twice in its entirety, so she's removing one of the sentences. So those are the only changes. Thank you, Georgia.
Any other questions from a member of the board? Any questions from a member of the public? Would entertain a motion for agenda item number 9.
I will make a motion to approve as presented with, not as presented, with the amendments as presented by staff.
Second.
There's a first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? Move 5-0 on agenda item number 9. With that, we'll move to the regular agenda.
Do we have to approve 10? Oh, we did that already.
What's that?
Mr. Chair, did we approve 10 already?
10 was a consent item.
Sorry.
All right?
Yeah, you're right.
Mr. Espinoza?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, we're on a regular agenda item number 11 today. We're going to have Georgia Cochran here to present this. This is going to be discussing our hours of operation within the San Bernardino County and the departments for fiscal year 13-14, and we're going to be requesting your board to adopt a resolution of the San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors authorizing the hours of operation for San Bernardino County departments in 2014. So we have Georgia Cochran here. Answer any questions?
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. This item actually was before you on December 17th, and at that time, I think in the hustle of the holidays and everything else, there were a few department heads who found a couple little nits that we had because this had gone to you previously in the prior year about 3 different times, and what we brought to you reflected what we thought was the last thing that you had approved. Apparently it was not, and there were some other changes also to reflect, just so that you don't have to do that, do this again with respect to elections. If you'll notice on Exhibit B, there's some specific things in the elections code that talks about times that elections needs to be open at certain points through regular business hours. So rather than closing at 4 o'clock, then they would close at 5 on these certain days. And we've specified the events through 2014, but also it talks about how many days prior to an election and those kinds of things, so that we've legally covered that as well, because there are those few days during the year that they need to be open until 5 p.m. With that, we don't anticipate any further changes until the new fiscal, as part of the new fiscal year. So at that point in time, there may or may not be office hour changes.
Any questions from members of the board? I'd just like to make the comment that I am very pleased to see the library has extended hours opening on Friday, because I know that was I was getting a lot of comments from members of the public wanting to see the library open on Friday. So I just want to point out that the library will be open on Friday afternoon from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
And I did speak with the librarian about this. She had been toying with it and trying to figure out how to cover some things. She thinks she can do that. So between now and the end of the fiscal year, that is the proposed hours. If for some reason something unforeseen happens, you may see this come back, but we don't anticipate that at all.
Well, if it comes back, I hope it comes back as opening even longer hours on Friday. Anyway.
I think that most would agree with you.
Anybody from the public like to make a comment on this item? Seeing none? Let's see, we have to approve this, correct?
Motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the hours of operation for San Bernardino County Department 2014 with resolution 2014-3.
Second?
There's a first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Move 5-0. Mr. Espinoza?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, this item number 12 on our agenda is going to be presented to us by our interim planning director, Byron Turner. And we're going to be requesting your board to approve the agreement with the City of Hollister regarding the application of the master agreement for tax transfer upon annexation to the 2006 Brigantino annexation. So we have Byron Turner here.
Thank you. Back in May of 2013, the board considered a request to reduce the annexation fee for the 2006 Brigantino annexation. On that date, the board did determine that based on specific facts on the annexation on the issue, to reduce the fees 50% to 50% of the rate of the annexation fee at the time of occupancy, and directed staff to work with the City of Hollister to bring back an agreement. County Counsel's office has prepared a draft agreement reflecting the board's decision. It's been approved by Mr. Brigantino, and it will be going to the City Council on January 21st for their approval. If the City Council makes any changes to it, it will have to come back to this board. But this time, staff's recommending that the board approve the agreement with the City of Hollister regarding the application of the master agreement for tax transfer upon annexation to the 2006 Brigantino annexation. I'm here and County Council's here for any questions on the agreement.
Any questions from the members of the board?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I know I think I know the answer. Just want to make sure that's correct. If the city adds some additional language, it basically voids this agreement, and we have to go back to the drawing board, right?
Yeah, we'll come back to you to have to approve that language, yes.
Right. Okay. All right.
Supervisor Rivas?
Hey, Byron, it's my understanding that, back in May, when the board made this decision, I opposed it, and I opposed it for obvious reasons, because, in my opinion, we're opening up our own, our Pandora's box here, because it's my understanding that there are other people out there that are now going to come back to this board and expect the same type of treatment that we're giving the Brigantino family. So, in essence, this agreement that we're drafting here should just be a standard agreement, because obviously we're going to have to give the people that come that want this exemption as well, or we have to give them the same treatment that we gave the Brigantinos. So how is planning going to handle that, and what is it going to look like for our board? If someone comes and says, hey, you guys gave this break of fees to the Brigantino family, what's their process going to be like?
Well, staff doesn't have the ability to waive fees or to alter fees in any way.
Right, but I'm saying as far as what it looks like, I mean, it's going to have to come through our agenda, so every single one of these is going to have to be on our agenda?
Yes, if someone requests a break in fees, we would direct them to talk to the board, to come to the board in open session and request that they agendize it.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just a comment that we made this decision back in, I want to say that it was May, but it was really all based on findings. So anybody that brings in an application for any kind of change has to bring some pretty, specific findings that would, for us to consider. So it wasn't done without a lot of thought. So the findings is going to be the answer to their application. There is a small error on 1.11. The whereas is just misspelled. We just need to correct that, and maybe it can be done before it goes to the city if it hasn't already.
Okay.
On 1.11.
I'll make that correction.
Okay.
I should also note that on the signature page, where it's listed as LNG with the and form, that we were requested to change it to L plus G, and that's the other change that we've made to the signature form. It has been seen by the interim city manager and also the new city attorney, but of course the city council has not seen it, and we do not know if they have any changes. So if they do have any changes, it will be brought to the board, back to the board.
Yeah, and I share the same concern Supervisor Rivas pointed out as far as other people expecting similar considerations, and I supported this in the fact that there was some really specific circumstances that this particular development was going through at that period of time, and for a very, very long time. And that's why I support this consideration. But we do have an issue and a problem that I think we have to, as a board, put in our mind as far as how do we encourage, growth and development more into the cities than out in the counties. I think this is a discussion that we've been having at LAFCO as well, that there's more of a, we have basically incentivized development outside of the cities, and with pretty high fees, and somehow we have to work with our partners to kind of overcome some of this in the future anyhow. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, I understand the position of what's before us, but I have to agree to some degree with Mr. Supervisor Rivas, because I actually, when Supervisor Barrios was saying that the comments that this was a unique case of finding, right away I just started thinking, wait a minute, all we need to do is just hire a $150 lawyer that would just find us something that can bring it to the board and say it's a little special. I do have concern that I do, and I hope that we don't see an array of applicants coming before the board asking for exemptions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Matt, is this something that the impact fee committee could also look at and to see if these fees are where they should be and are fair?
Yeah, I think actually your county CAO and Joe Paul, your auditor, and myself have actually sat down and been talking about this issue. And actually, I'll let Ray address it because he's in charge of that. But we are aware of it, and we're talking about resolving it.
Yeah, we've actually been working on it, and that's one of our tasks for this year is to actually get this resolved and look at working with Bob Braitman, our LAFCO executive director, on resolving this problem and bring it back to your board.
Because I too have heard that this agreement is hindering developers from looking to be annexed into the city. So, Supervisor Patello?
Yeah, memory serves me. At one of our meetings with the Impact Fee Committee, we had discussed that the cities haven't really been paying anything into, like the jail and juvenile hall, and that's something that going forward that needs to be addressed. So I think that kind of alleviates some of these.
Yeah.
You know, how we're structuring it anyhow.
Mr. Chair. Yeah, so we're going to be sitting down with also the city, looking at the tax sharing agreement, the annexation piece of it as well, reevaluating that agreement, and again coming back to your board, hopefully in the next quarter, to bring something back to your board. So.
Any other comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the member of the public?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know all the details of this, but it's impressive. You're on economic development. You've got a project here that started out in '06. 8 years later, they still don't know what their financial commitments are. It's kind of difficult to make plans when 8 years you still don't know what's going to happen financially. 8 years. And then I remember some from years ago that have lasted 12 and 14 years. And you want folks to come in here and be entrepreneurs. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with our system. We're not citizens. We're subjects. Thank you.
Good morning again, Marty Richmond from Hollister. I'd like to comment on several aspects. I heard the mention that we were going to, excuse me, 2014 is stuck in my throat, that we have L plus G involved here on the side. One of the things that happened the other day at the city council is they hired L plus G to be their city council, and I mentioned, oh, watch out, we're going to get in some issues with the county because they represent developers at the county, and we're going to have their lawyer reviewing the thing. And what's the first thing I just heard? That their lawyer is reviewing the thing. So are we already in a conflict of interest situation here? We got the L plus G representing somebody here on this side, and we have the city attorney who works for L plus G on that side reviewing it. Stop. Got a problem. I think you ought to talk to the city about it, because I rarely put a written protest, but I put a written protest over that appointment for this very reason. I said we're going to run into this. We're already into it. It's only the first item on the agenda. Second thing I'd like to talk about is this is spilled milk because it happened way back when. But this goes to show you the cost of spilled milk. I mean, a lot of times, you know, you look back 10, 12 years here, we did some really bad work. I'm not pointing at anybody particular because I don't know who did it. I don't know who failed to upgrade these agreements. All I know is we're now paying for it. And I don't know who did it. And when people say, well, it doesn't matter, this really comes up and whatever, and I don't go around criticizing the employees either at the county or the city regularly, I don't think I do. But I'm going to just a note to the employees. That's what happens when you don't do your job. You go home and you'll leave, and 12 years from now, somebody's going to have to pay the price. And it's ridiculous. This is not a comment on your particular ruling, because that's spilled milk. It happened whenever it happened. But let's not do this going forward, for God's sakes. Let's get this straightened out. The final thing I'd like to say is on Supervisor Patello's comment. Under normal circumstances, I would agree with you 100%, but these are not normal circumstances. With all due respect to the thriving metropolis of San Juan Bautista and Tres Pinos, there's really only one city in San Benito County. I mean, they're technically cities, but they can't grow in San Juan Bautista. Where are they going to grow? And they're not growing in Tres Pinos because they get sued every time they try to grow. The only place is Hollister, and Hollister's got 66% of the people in the entire county in it. Now, what are you going to have? One, I hope you'll let me extend for 20 seconds. We're going to have one city, if we push everything into the city, that has 90% of the people in the county in it? That's ridiculous. I'm not telling you where to develop. All I'm saying is this is not a normal operation. This is not how things are laid out, that you have a county and you have a city that essentially is the county, unless you're at San Francisco, and we are not San Francisco, because they have a city-county board.
Marty, if you can summarize.
As one. Thank you. I will wrap up. They have a city-county board as one. Maybe we ought to do that. Thank you.
Actually, Barbara, if you can respond to that about the...
Yes, I should clarify that LNG reviewed it as the new city attorney for the city of Hollister. It was previously sent over to the Wellington law firm, and as soon as LNG was appointed as the as the city attorney, we sent it to them. So they're not representing the applicant in this matter. I believe that the applicant, Mr. Brigantino's attorney is, I believe, Paul Balbus.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Okay, I just want to clarify that. So LNG is not the applicant
That's correct.
attorneys. Okay,
That's correct.
thank you. Thank you, Barbara. Anyone else from the public? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, that we approve the agreement with the City of Hollister regarding the application of the master agreement for tax transfer upon annexation to the 2006 Brigantino annexation with the corrections and changes noted.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? No. Passes 4-1. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 13.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, item number 13 on our regular agenda is going to be presented just by Steve Wittry, our Public Works Director, and the discussion is going to be with your board to adopt the resolution requesting route transfer of State Highway 25 from its current alignment along San Benito Street to the Highway 25 bypass and closing access from Chapel Road to Highway 25 bypass. Steve?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Basically, this is the final step on a long journey that's gone through for the Highway 25 bypass project. The Caltrans and CTC have scheduled a meeting in April where the item on the agenda will be to actually formally transfer the route. What they are requesting, they being Caltrans is requesting, is a formal resolution from both the County of San Benito and the City of Hollister where that route travels to request that transfer occur. That is what the resolution is in the packet. In addition to that, we have the formal closure of Chapel Road from the bypass. It has been fenced off for years since the bypass is open, but this is a formal action because we couldn't find that in the record. We want to make sure that it was there to make sure that the land documents and the transfer was able to be transferred to the state. So any questions, be happy to answer them.
Any questions from a member of the board?
I do have a question, and I think maybe this recommendation was done prior to this current, idea of transferring the bypass back. But they're only giving us two options: to keep it the same, or for the city to actually obtain the old one or keep the new one and the old one. Is that something that they're going to reconsider then with this resolution?
Basically, what it is the route transfer report is what you're looking at, is some of the data that's in there, and that's included in the packet as backup documentation for supporting the Caltrans to take that to the CTC board. One of the things that was of particular interest in this report to us as the county was the discussion of maintenance of that future route. Through some recent discussions with Caltrans, there was the discussion bringing onto the table from Caltrans that the county would still maintain portions of that route going through this particular area. The route transfer report that's been obviously approved through the director back in 12 clearly indicates that Caltrans will maintain all those portions of the new bypass road. That was the intent of putting this documentation in here. There have been some nuances in terms of choices, as you're talking about, as it's progressed to 2 or 3 different choices. But the reason why we have this documentation in the record is to, once again, rely upon it in the public record that Caltrans has said in their own report recommending transfer that they will do the maintenance. So that's why we included it in this packet today.
So these options then are kind of old.
Yes.
So they don't go with the new resolution. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Other comments or questions? Anybody from the public? Okay, seeing none, what's the pleasure of the board?
I'll move to adopt Resolution 2014-01. 4 already, wow. Moving right along, adopt Resolution 2014-04, requesting a route transfers State Route 25 from its current alignment along San Marino Street to the Highway 25 bypass and closing access from Chapel Road to Highway 25 bypass, and authorize the chair to sign the resolution.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Passes 5-0. With that, we are continuing item 14, correct?
That's correct. We're going to go ahead and continue item 14 to January 21st.
Okay.
Moving on to closed session item 15. Thank you. We'll be continuing item number 14 to January 21st of 2014, and we're going to go ahead and move into item number 15, our executive session, but that won't be till about 11:30. So.
Matt?
Why don't we reconvene at 11:30 and I'll report or announce it at that time?
Okay. Do I need to allow any members of the public to comment on the closed session item now?
Yeah, if
Okay.
you're going to do that, then I'll announce it.
Okay. Would anyone from the public like to comment on the closed session item? Seeing none, then we'll take a short break of an hour and a half and reconvene at 11:30.
We'll come back for closed session?
Yes.
Yes, at 11:30.
Tanya is not available till 11:30.
Joe Paul, how are you? Thank you. Thank you. Happy New Year to you and your family. Yes, yes, yes. This is your door, right?
backs on our side, and that's all well and good. And that's, and I'm sorry, I don't want that, present that as some sort of reverse obligation to the board. It's just simply stating this is where the court is at and what we're thinking. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's anything else.
Mr. Chair, both you and Supervisor Rivas make excellent points, and they're both very, very valid. I think what we probably need to do, first of all, we're not going to make a decision today because it appears that the courts and our sheriff still need to come together and figure out and continue to find some solutions, work together, lower the cost, whatever that may be. But in the meantime, we need to be proactive. We need to jump into the